Hi everyone, Coach Kirsten here. I wanted to hop on and share my race report for the 2025 Wildlife Loop Triathlon that I did yesterday, September 6th. This is my 8th time I've done this race. I think it was my slowest time ever, but it was all good. It's still one of my favorite races, and it just had to do with my training. I didn't have the best training plan leading up to the race, and although I was excited and tapered and felt rested, it just didn't go exactly the way I wanted it to, which races never do, right? So race morning was, so this is in Custer State Park in South Dakota. That's where this race is. It's a half Ironman distance race. And it is definitely one of my all-time favorite races. The race itself, it's really low key. It's pretty grassroots, no timing chip, small, no cutoff times for the racers. There's also an Olympic distance and sprint distance if you want to come experience the race but don't want to do a full half Ironman distance race. There are lots of other options. And the race director is pretty laid back about other options as well if you had something else in mind. Like if you just wanted to do an aqua bike or a swim run or a duathlon or something like that. And he's okay with last minute changes as well. One of the years the water dropped overnight to like within a couple days to like 52 degrees. So a lot of people opted out of the swim, which he allowed. So come to South Dakota, do the race, and just have fun. So race morning, I got really good sleep the night before. I was camping out of my car in a campground, and it was I was just relaxed and calm, went to bed early, and race morning, got up after a good night's sleep, felt good. I've been feeling really, I've had like some hip tightness and just overall just life fatigue, I guess, like muscle fatigue. And I did a little bit a couple days before. I did a little swim in the lake the day before. I rode my bike like 15 minutes the day before, went on a long walk. And I just kind of felt not amazing, but my body typically rallies for race day. So I just kind of went with it. So race morning, got up, got all my stuff into transition. It was 29 degrees. So a lot colder than I was expecting. And so I didn't have any warm weather clothes. I had warm weather clothes because I was traveling in my car, and I always have warm weather clothes, but I didn't have any bike specific warm weather clothes. And the first 10 minutes of the bike course is all downhill. So I knew it'd be a little bit chilly. I did have gloves. I did have a big jacket. So I was planning on just wearing those till I got to the downhill and then switching out of them. And then the day before, my friend Katie was like, "Oh, have you ever used hand warmers?" And I hadn't, but I went to Ace Hardware and they had them. So on race morning, I put one in each of my gloves. And then when I activated them. So when I got out of the swim, I put them in my kit, and that kept me warm. I put them in the pockets of my kit. So swim, I was planning on just wearing my floaty pants and not my wetsuit, because if I can avoid my wetsuit, I usually do. I've had some issues with anxiety and panicking, and it typically occurs when I'm in my wetsuit. But race morning, it was so cold, and even though the water was warmer, it was like 66 to 68 degrees. As a swim coach, I read that for swim safety, the air temperature plus the water temperature should be over 100. So if you're in a pool that's like, pool water is really warm, so you could swim in the pool when it's like less than 20 degrees out, and it's not unsafe. But since the air temperature was so cold and the lake was warm for a lake, but not really warm, it didn't equal 100 degrees. So I decided just to play it safe and wear my wetsuit. So I put on my wetsuit race morning. I love the feel of my wetsuit, but it has a weird zipper thing that comes open really easily. And so right like 5 minutes before the race started, it popped open. And in order to zip it back up, it zips from the bottom, and you have to like put the little zippery thing in the zipper thing. So technical. And I I don't want to ask somebody else to do it because it's really hard to do. I've done it on other people's before. So I had to take off my whole wetsuit, zip it partway up, squeeze back into it. It all turned out okay. The race was about a half an hour delayed, which was nice because then the sun came up and it warmed up a lot. So my swim went as expected. The water is glass, it's calm, it's perfect, it's beautiful. I got a little warm in the swim, but it was okay since the air temperature was really cold. I did not have a panic attack. I picked a song like I normally do. I sang it until the first buoy, and then I'm always fine by the first buoy. So swim, very uneventful. I don't know what my time was. I don't wear a watch, and it's not chip timed. So the people who help out with the race and the race director, they get your splits when you know, in your transition, when you come in from the swim out to the bike, but it's all manual, like pencil and paper. And so it takes him a while to get that into a spreadsheet and share that. So unless you wear a watch, which most people do, I typically don't know what my splits are. I did look at the end of the bike ride. My time was 3:35, and I'm assuming my bike ride was around 3 hours, and my transition was around 5 minutes, maybe a little bit less. My transitions were really slow because I was not organized at all. I just took my bag and I put it out by my bike. And then I brought a blanket from my car because I was like, if I'm going to do a full dry off, I'm going to want to sit down. So I put this big blanket in front of my bike and then just opened my bike bag. And so in transition, I had to sit and like take everything out and put it on. So I feel like my transitions were really long. So I would assume my swim was around 30 minutes, which is normal for my swim anyway. Transition around 5 minutes, and then my bike ride around 3 hours, which again, that's what it normally is. I don't think I've ever broken 3 hours on this bike course. So I got and since I got so warm on the swim, I actually didn't need to put on my jacket. I put those hand warmer things in my kit, and then I put on gloves, and I was completely fine. So you come out of transition, you run up a hill, and that warmed me up too, because you have to run up this hill for like 100 feet or whatever it is. Get on your bike, and then you go downhill for you go out of where the lake is, and it's uphill for about a mile, and then you go downhill for about 10 miles. And it's so gorgeous. It's in like a little valley. I did have to stop on the second loop of this because there was a group of sheep. Was it my first or second loop? I can't remember. I think it was the second loop. There's a group of bighorn sheep trying to cross the road. I'm not trying. They were crossing the road. So there's a bunch of cars stopped to take pictures and let them go. So I had to stop on my bike. It wasn't that long, maybe like 2 minutes, but it feels like forever because I was just getting going and I wanted to keep going. But that's the beauty and the risk you take when you're in a state park for a race. I saw 2 buffalo on the side of the road. One was when we were biking up Iron Mountain Road, and there's like nobody in sight. There was like no cars, no other cyclists, and I came up to it, and the roads are really narrow, and it was right on the side of the road eating, and so I went like way around it as far as I could, which is only like 10 feet because the roads aren't very big there. And I was just like trying to go like as quiet as possible. And then as soon as I passed, I just like went as hard as I could. The buffalo are really big. So it was a little intimidating, but it was also very cool. Like if I had my GoPro, it would have been really cool. I don't even have a GoPro. I don't know why I said that. But pictures of that would have been really cool. So you go downhill for about 10 miles, and then you go onto Iron Mountain Drive. And it's a scenic byway. It's gorgeous. It's lots of ups and downs, twists and turns. That's where I saw the buffalo. And I felt really strong. I didn't feel like I was crushing it, but I didn't feel like I was like dying. I felt like I like climbing up hills, and it was fun, and I've done it a ton of times, and I loved it. So that's the next 5 miles. And then you turn onto kind of a gradual climb for about 5 miles. That's about 4 miles, like some false flats and some really like gradual climbs. For about 4 miles, then you go downhill for about a mile, and then you turn on to what I would say is one of the harder areas. It pitches up a little bit for about three miles. And then it's really exposed, like you're out of like the foresty part. I mean, there's forest on both sides, but you're not like in the trees protected. So it gets windy, it's hot. It feels a lot longer than it is, and it's just a gradual incline. Then you shoot down for about a mile, then up for about a mile, and then down a little bit. And then you turn and do that whole loop again. And the loop starts about 4 miles from the race start. So it's kind of like you go about 4 miles, do 2 loops, and then you have to go back up 3 miles and then down that last mile that you went up right when you got out of the lake. So it's a really neat bike course. It's very challenging, well over 5,000 feet of climbing in 52 miles. There's a little out and back that the race director sometimes takes out that you would have done twice, and we took it out. No complaints here. So it was about 52 miles. So it probably took me about 3 hours, and I was feeling fine. I wasn't ever like, oh, actually, when I was almost back up to transition, the last climb, my quad started cramping, and I actually had to stop my bike because every time I pushed down on the pedal, my right quad would cramp. I had a pickle juice with me, so I drank that. I drank the rest of my electrolyte drink. I stretched it out for a second, and then it was about another mile up and mile down back to transition. I tried to mostly pedal with my left leg. So I don't know how that did, but it didn't cramp. It was fine until I got off the bike. One thing people ask me a lot is like, what do you do for nutrition? How many calories, how many grams of carbs? I was actually going to check my carbs. So I could tell you guys, because I know people always ask that. And I was thinking about it when I was racing. Let me look really quick because I have my things here. I know it's about 500 calories per hour is what I ended up doing. And this has 6, 7, 8, 90 grams of carbs, total carbs. And this has 34, so like 100... At least 100 grams of carbs per hour and about 500 calories per hour. So that's what I took during the whole race. So the race took me about 6 hours, so 3,000 calories during the race. And I've been using Flow. It's a Colorado-based business, and that's what I started using this year, and it worked great. I felt great. It's a combination of the powder and then some of the chews, just to supplement if I feel like I'm getting hungry or I just need a little bit more calories. And then I drank 6 pickle juices. I drank 1 on the bike when I cramped. I drank 1 in transition before the run, and then I took 4 on the run with me because I was feeling a little crampy. Nothing like last year. Last year, all my races, I was cramped out like crazy. And this year, I just a little bit, like I felt like if I went a little harder, I might. Last year, I thought it was maybe overall lack of magnesium in my daily diet. So I started taking a magnesium supplement last October. So it's been almost a year. And I think for this race, I realized when I was racing, so I started keeping track of just like my heart rate a little bit more. I've been wearing a Whoop, and the majority of my training is zone 2, with a lot of zone 1, a lot of zone 0, and a little bit of zone 3. And then when I race, it was like, I should have looked, it was like 65% in zone 4. 55% of my race yesterday was zone 4. And I don't train in zone 4 very often. And so it makes sense that I couldn't go any harder than I was going. So good to know, right? Good to pay attention to numbers sometimes. So it definitely makes sense. So I get off the bike again. I felt like I didn't feel bad. I didn't feel great. I just felt like, oh, I'm doing a race. I was excited to start running. I love the run. It has a couple thousand feet of climbing in the 13 miles. It's 2 loops. And again, I spent a lot of time in transition because I was digging through my bag, finding my shoes, my hat, my race belt. Like I just had everything in my bag still. And by then, and then I gathered up all my like nutrition and put it at the turnaround. So I kind of walked out of transition with, I had 3 bottles or 2 bottles and 1 handful of other stuff, put it at the turnaround and then started running off. And the run course, it goes up and then down and then up and then down. And then a little out and back to the right. That's like not even a half mile. And then a big out and back that's like 1.5 miles each way out to the left. Then back up the hill, down the hill, up the hill, down the hill, and you do that twice. So again, lots of climbing. I felt good. I felt like I couldn't have gone any faster than I was. Nothing hurt. My hip issue I've been having, I mean, my hip felt a little tight, but it didn't hurt at all. My knees were getting achy because I haven't done any long runs since May when I did St. George half Ironman. That was my last long run. I was going to do a couple more and it just never happened again. This is exactly why I got my slowest time ever. And so I'm imagining my transition was another 5 minutes, which normally T2 is like a minute. So that added time. And then I ended up finishing feeling fine. I didn't feel great. I couldn't have gone any faster, but I didn't like hurt myself trying to finish. Everything went well. I ended up finishing in 5:53 was my time. So I imagine if my swim and bike was 3:35 and then my next transition was like 5 minutes, so that'd be 3:40. So it'd mean my run was like 2:13, which is a really slow run for me. But again, I hadn't been doing a lot of fast running and definitely no longer, harder runs. I did a 6-mile hilly run one day and that felt good, but that's not like racing 13.1 hilly miles. So it makes sense to me that it was slower than I had wanted it to be. But again, it's all good. So all in all, an amazing experience. I had so much fun. I loved seeing everyone out there. There was 19 people that did the half distance. 4 were women. 2 of them were professional women, so they were like way fast. And then the girl, so I ended up 3rd place. And then the 4th place girl, I was finishing when I was like coming in on the last part of the run when she was starting. So I didn't actually get to talk with her. So there's only 4 women. Every other year, the race director gives money, cash prizes to the top 10 men and top 10 women. Obviously there's only 4 women, but we all got cash prizes. So I'm always telling you guys, you should come do this race. You should come do this race. You should have come. You could have been like the slowest person ever and you would have still got cash prizes. So remember that for in 2 years. But come next year for the experience and then you'll know what to work on. You'll know what to work on for 2027 for cash prizes. So I did end up winning some money, which is always amazing. I bought a bunch of rocks. Guys, stop. I bought a bunch of rocks for people, and so that was definitely worth it. So 3rd place overall female out of 4. I'll take it. The first 2 were professionals. Everyone was younger than me. I was definitely the oldest lady there. So yeah. So if you guys have any questions about the race, like I said, this was my 8th time. I know it like the back of my hand. I love it like my own child. I was just saying that because she just walked in. And I will definitely be doing it next year. So if you guys have any questions or want to know anything about the area or whatever, let me know. And my next race is in 1 month, so I definitely know what I need to work on so that I can actually go out and kill this next race, crush it flat, and that is it. So I will talk to you guys soon. Thank you. Bye.
So do you know